welcome to The Ancient Way. I'm James.
I'm Marlia. Figured that'd be
That's pretty
fun.
good. Yeah, it's fun.
What are we getting into today, James?
Don't know. Let's start off with a urban legend that I heard as I was getting my haircut yesterday.
Okay.
I always love getting my haircut because, and I'll go to random places too. Sometimes I'll go to my certain people, and then sometimes I'll just go try a new place if I'm in a hurry. But you never know who's going to cut your hair, and you're just stuck with that person for...
Yeah, that's bold.
Yeah, it is. They're not all the...
People are not always great.
Yeah.
They try.
But the lady yesterday, I was like, she said something like, well, I just don't want to mess it up. And I'm like, well, the worst thing that could happen is we have to shave it all off. And it's not going to bother me. So, that's the worst thing that could happen for me.
That's true. Me too.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's, But anyways, we were talking about pets, random stuff. Well, apparently, Chihuahuas heal asthma.
Is that real?
This is a known thing. And
What?
this girl, witnessed it. Her brother had asthma. They got a Chihuahua. The Chihuahuas take the asthma from whoever they live with, and it eventually kills them.
Wait, it kills the Chihuahua?
It kills the Chihuahua eventually. And so I was fascinated by this because she was like, I promise you, it's what happens. It's real. Because I've seen it. My brother doesn't have asthma. I was like, wow, that's really cool, but not for the Chihuahua. And she said,
Sacrificial Chihuahua.
She said, well, what if the Chihuahua loves its owner and it took the asthma from him? Like, well, maybe. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, and I Googled it and it's a thing.
What
It's a
the
legend.
heck?
Yeah, I've never heard of this before.
I've never heard of this either. But I could totally see how it would do that.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
So on a frequency level, right? Everything carries a frequency.
Right.
Even disease carries a frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Joy carries a frequency. Love carries a frequency. Everything. Your body does.
Yeah.
The Chihuahua does.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the earth has a frequency.
Yeah.
I could totally see that this Chihuahua carries the same frequency as the asthma, and so it attracts
So it magnetizes to it. Oh,
I could
interesting.
totally see that. That's how I pictured that in my brain.
Little asthma magnets.
Yeah. And it's probably because that frequency basically blows the whole Chihuahua up.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what I saw. I was like, yeah, I could totally see it.
Okay.
He could take it on.
Yeah. Well, the thing that got me was which I don't discount anything really.
Yeah.
But the fact she believed it, you could tell. She was like, yeah.
Well, it's not that. Really, if you think about it.
I think it's the randomness of it. Of like, oh, Chihuahuas cure asthma.
I wonder how many more animals actually. What if that was the whole purpose they're set upon the earth for?
Probably. They're not much. They're not the prettiest.
No.
I had one a long time ago, and it was mean.
But what if hamsters?
Yeah.
Or like other animals?
There's more purpose to them.
Yeah, than just sitting in a box and running on a hamster wheel.
Yeah. That's interesting.
What if it actually could help with
something else?
It
has a frequency
something.
of something else.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting thought, folks.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, yeah, that's cool.
Speaking of frequencies, did you know when you talk, you release a frequency? Because all sound is frequent.
Okay.
Has frequency.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All sound does. So this is a fun story. When Zach and I were on our honeymoon, I got in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I hate snorkeling. I have a horrible time with
Claustrophobic?
No, it's the pressure.
Okay.
It's when I go underwater,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my head's going to explode.
Okay.
I get real dizzy, real nauseous. I was nauseous on the boat. It was not my favorite day.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I decided I'm going to go snorkeling with everybody else. I'm not the brightest, sharpest crayon in the box. Anyways, but I go underwater and I was like, I am not going any lower. I feel terrible. So I'm going to sing and I'm going to make the fish come to me. Lo and behold, I'm not kidding you. I started singing, and I don't sing great, but I started singing about the Lord, and I had all these fish start to swarm me and start to look at me.
Yeah.
All the colored fishes, different types of things.
Huh.
So I was like, well, one, they heard the frequency, but
Yeah.
I think it was the frequency of love, and they're all attracted
Yeah.
to the Lord.
Yeah.
Because, sorry, this is getting real weird today. Anyways, but yeah, I had all these colored fish, so I didn't have to keep going lower.
Yeah.
They all came to me.
They came to you. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I got to experience it
Yeah.
without having to
Submerge yourself further.
kill myself, is what
Yeah.
I felt like.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was probably the best part of my honeymoon.
That's
I mean,
cool.
besides, being
Right.
on my honeymoon.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well, that's cool.
we were in Mexico, so.
Mexico, home of Chihuahuas. Do you remember those Taco Bell commercials?
Yes, with the Chihuahuas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
My cousin has a Chihuahua. The name is Yoda. The dog's name is Yoda.
They look like Yodas.
The ears, everything looks just like Yoda.
Oh, yeah.
It's very strange.
That's funny. He's probably based off of
A Chihuahua?
a Chihuahua, his look. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, I think urban legends are real. So there's that.
Yeah.
Speaking of urban legends, before we get into anything else,
Yeah.
do you know about Rockwall, Texas?
No, not much.
Do you know that it was like a hub of Nephilim?
It doesn't surprise me. What is the history?
There's a lot there, but I guess there's like the rock wall.
Right.
I think there's like an actual Megalithic rock structure there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but some people say that it's like the portal. It's a portal for Nephilim. And if you look, there's a guy who does a lot of work. His name's Dr. Judd Burton.
Oh, yeah.
But they talk about all the Nephilim that are roaming the earth, like hybrids. So not just like gods or whatever, but they're like half human, half gorilla, or half human, half goat.
Yeah.
Or the goat man has been seen.
Oh, yeah.
In Texas. Anyways, so I guess it's like prevalent here in East Texas.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Keep
Well,
your
he
eyes.
wrote a book. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the spiritual backdrop of Texas. Paranormal Big Country is what it's called. And I started reading it.
Really?
Yes. We should get him on the show.
Dude, I'd be here for that.
I would too. But he got some really valid points. He's just a cool dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got books on the stuff. And it's cool because it's like there is definitely something
these aren't
beneath
just
the surface here too, everywhere, but here it's cool. It would be good. I think it'd be valuable just to know, and then the structures, it's like some of these mountains and stuff. It's like, is that like a giant skull that we're standing on, or like, what's the deal with, there's no telling what's beneath the surface, I guess.
Okay, so can we get a little bit further into weirdness?
Yes.
Okay, so have you heard of the Georgia Guidestones?
No.
Okay, so it is literally like tablets that are supposed to mimic like the 10 Commandments, but it's basically satanic commandments.
Okay.
You can Google this.
Okay.
Georgia Guidestones.
I'm going to Google it right now.
You should. Well, on 7/6, so July 6th, it got blown up at 4:03 in the morning, and it started to crumble. So then they had to get a bulldozer out there and actually bulldoze these
tablets.
These tablets. They're huge. They're not like little tablets. They're like full blown portal.
Damn, yeah. I'm
stone hinges.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a structure.
Oh, it is definitely a structure. It's much like the Stonehenge portals.
Yeah.
That are, for those of you that don't know, those Stonehenges are actual portals. And they were used. You can go look at them. Göbekli Tepe was used as a portal. They channel energy. They're designed in a certain way to create a vortex. Anyways, so these guide stones, they just blew up. And one of them was about depopulation. It said one of the commandments, quote unquote, was to keep the earth under 500
Yeah, maintain humanity under
500 million.
million in perpetual balance with nature.
Yes.
Oh.
So the whole point is to actually try and depopulate the earth.
Yeah, I'm reading these right now.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. It's wild if y'all want to go look up at the Georgia Guidestones. But it's in Georgia. And just, a couple of days ago, it randomly got blown up, which I think is very interesting.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, strange. I was reading them, sorry.
No. What stood out to you on that?
Well, I was just reading them, and I want to kind of delve into it a little bit, like the origins of it.
Oh, yeah. So apparently the Freemasons put it together.
That's what it sounds like. It
a
has
version of it.
Like it sounds good, but it has like a weird twisty spin on it.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, we can get deep into conspiracy theories, or we don't have to, but
I am down. I'm still reading these.
They do. They call it the Satanic Georgia Guidestone.
Okay.
They said it was a morning bombing, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So there's some people that I have seen who've started posting about these Georgia Guidestones. I don't know. Of course, people are like, it became a magnet for the conspiracy theories. It's hard to be a magnet when they're true, but
yeah, right.
They do have. I think they are. The Georgia Guidestones is definitely rooted in some demonic activity.
Right.
From what I understand, and I'll have to confirm this, but I think it's on a ley line.
Okay.
So it's on a line. So the Earth has frequencies that are around the Earth, right?
Okay.
And they're called ley lines. You can go look them up. It's like real.
Yeah.
Like science, if you will, but it's intersection points.
Okay.
And a ley line is where these two intersection points, it's the most quote unquote spiritually charged. So it's where the most electrical current. There's different pockets.
Yeah.
Like the Pyramid of Giza is on a ley line.
Right.
So that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Well, I think these Georgia Guidestones, I'm pretty sure, are on a ley line because they took a picture of the top. And maybe this should be explicit and don't let children listen to it. But the top of it is what they say was also used for rituals. And if you go look over the course of like 3 years, it's clear that people were on top of this thing.
Okay.
It's clear that it's been worn down. It looks like things have been burned up there.
Right.
And so
it's crazy. Like they have the structures like this all over the world. Like there's ley lines everywhere, but each culture knows about them somehow.
Oh yeah. There's another ley line over in, I want to say it's New Mexico, Arizona area.
Okay.
Same thing.
There's a mountain. I can't think of where it is, but there's like an underground city that's rumored, but pretty heavily.
Oh no, it's real. There was a guy that disappeared going to find it.
Right. What is it? We need to research that one because that was fascinating to me. Yeah, but he went in to find the underground city and all this stuff.
So that was, I think it was Arizona, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, that sounds right.
We're kind of putting this off clearly.
Yeah.
But no, one of the underground cities, which I think is interesting, there have been multiple people that have found it.
Yeah.
And then they disappear.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should go find it.
Yeah. I'm not disappearing, bro.
I'm not either.
Come at me now.
Yeah.
But it's this city it's literally all these people that have been living underground.
Yeah.
And like the Native Americans that were living in that area talked about these gods that came from the earth, out of the earth, came up and taught them things.
Yeah.
And literally, dude.
Yeah. Dang.
Which if you just start putting together the Book of Enoch, it's like...
Yeah, it just confirms it more.
Yeah. But yeah, that was another place that a strong ley line was.
Yeah.
And people talk about, like, if you go out there now, you can feel it. You can feel the electricity in the air.
Well, then there's that temple. It's like it may be an Aztec temple in South America. We may have talked about this one before, but obviously you can go to the top of it, but on the corners of it are these snakes that kind of slither down. You know, they're made out of stone, but when the sun hits it a certain way, light comes through the snake and comes out of it at the bottom of it.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the one that's in Ohio?
No.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's one in Ohio. I want to know I think it's Snake Land.
Oh. Sounds like a really bad theme park.
That's probably not it.
Yeah.
But it's like woven into, like you would have to have like an aerial view.
Yeah. To see it.
Oh, Snake Mound is what it's called. No,
Okay.
it's called the Serpent Mound.
Yeah.
It's a
I've heard of that
700-foot
one.
serpent mound in Ohio.
Okay. I have heard of that one.
Yeah, so it's like a perfect snake mound.
Why is it always going to be snakes?
Man, they weren't playing when they put Nahash in there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. They're everywhere.
That's probably why.
You got those feathered snakes in South America, but they're always a serpent.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so fascinating. But yeah, the Aztec, that stuff is crazy. Have you heard the story about the Aztecs?
Yeah, several. I mean, yeah, a long time ago when I wasn't interested in it.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
I know it. I don't know. Is it the teacher's fault or?
I don't know. I wish that people went more into it. But so I guess there is a group of people. I want to say it was the Aztecs.
Mm-hmm.
They learned to be basically demonic.
Yeah.
Because there was white settlers. I guess there was a being that was living amongst them. That was basically teaching them to be horrible.
Okay.
The Aztecs. Because, you know, they were pretty gruesome individuals.
Oh, yeah, right.
Zero regard for life.
Yeah.
But I guess the guy said that one of the beings, I should say, was saying the white man is coming.
Okay.
And so they were looking for a white man.
Yeah.
And anyway, so white settlers ended up coming and slaughtering them to pieces.
Yeah.
And they basically taught them how to do human sacrifice. And so then they thought this was from God because the gods had told them. And so they thought this was the way.
Oh, okay.
They would sacrifice their children. They would sacrifice women who were about to give birth.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, it was like a very frequent thing where they would have to select a person. Yep. I believe. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there was also a North American tribe that did the same thing.
Okay.
I think it's in Georgia, actually.
Really?
Interesting. It's where they would do this, and they would select a person, and it was like the highest honor. And
yeah. Sounds like a blast.
Which rumors have it that this is actually still happening today.
Yeah.
Not just with tribes, but with
the
elite.
Right.
And certain sects of, you know, the Freemasons and the Illuminati or whatever you want to put on there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Little secret societies.
It's a lot of demonic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, which is kind of cool though. Not the demonic aspect.
Yeah.
But that there's so much darkness that tries to cover the light as much as they can.
Yeah.
Because all these little things that they're doing, the rituals, like there's so much more light to be had. There's so much more power to be had.
Yeah.
And I think it's because people put their belief in that thing that's why that thing manifests.
Right.
You know, because these stories, these urbans, these legends, it's like,
yeah.
I mean, they believe it.
Yeah.
But how much more would it happen if Christianity wasn't so watered down that we would believe it?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
We would believe in the power of healing as much as we did.
Yeah. And it doesn't require us having to
sacrifice,
mutilate anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't require any of that. Or any sort of exchange. Like that.
It's just acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think Christianity is way more mystical and way more powerful than I think we have even touched yet on this earth.
Yeah, right.
Well, Jesus did.
Yeah.
Jesus was the one that walked in the full-blown.
Right.
And I think that we have the ability to.
I do too.
He wouldn't have said in John 14 that we have the ability to walk in greater
Yeah.
if that wasn't true.
Yeah. Yeah, he was showing us, too, who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I like all those conspiracies and stuff, quote unquote.
Yeah, me too. I like supernatural stuff. I like seeing stuff. I don't really care what it is.
Yeah.
You know, for some reason.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. And I feel like things are actually getting charged more and more and more.
Yeah.
Do you want to know why?
Why?
So I had a great conversation with a gentleman today. He's an older man. He's like 70. We talked for like an hour and a half. And, you know, he was expressing, he has some deep concerns for the Methodist Church.
Oh, okay.
I could tell, like, he must have grown up.
Does he have some sort of connection to them?
I think he's Methodist now. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But you could tell he's very, very concerned about it. And, it was kind of beautiful. It was kind of like he has such a heart for real Christianity.
Yeah.
Because I guess the Methodist Church is kind of going through the split. Clearly, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know anything. I don't know anything about denominations.
Yeah, me either.
But he said that they're teaching in theology right now, like if you're going to go get your doctorate or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
In I guess it's the Methodist seminary, is that they're teaching that the resurrection hasn't been proved.
Okay.
And they're teaching that it's subjective. Because it hasn't been proven archaeologically, or it hasn't been proven through history, is what they say.
Oh, what the hell do they believe then?
Literally. It's like, yeah,
wow.
But this is part of, I guess, what is actually manifesting in the Methodist Church.
Yeah.
And it's causing a major divide.
Unstable. Yeah.
It's causing a major divide where what he said is, because it was sweet. He was being kind. But he was like, you're a millennial and you believe Jesus is real.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He was like, but you're so young.
Yeah. Oh.
But, you know, he was just like, because that's a lot of the younger,
right,
I guess, in the Methodist Church are starting to hold this belief that the resurrection isn't real.
Yeah.
And that you can't prove the virgin birth. And that she wasn't really a virgin. And I mean, like,
that's a lot of trouble to try to even think about that.
Yeah, but that's like, you know,
that at the core of that, you're just discounting Christianity, supernatural, anything. You're just discounting it completely.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting because it's like, if you're going to go that hard after the two most fundamental things in Christianity, like, you clearly are afraid of the light.
Oh, yeah, right.
You're afraid of the transforming power.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That will rattle your cage.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, yeah.
And I think power will show up in ways that you won't even fully expect.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. That's part of the fun of it. He likes to surprise us.
Yeah.
I watched on Disney Plus, I was just kind of going through it. There's a lot of old stuff on there, but then they had like the National Geographic section, which is, I kind of like watching that stuff.
Zach and I watch that when Bexley goes to bed because she doesn't like it, but we're like geeked out in it.
It's kind of fun. Well, except one of them. It was cool because the quality is so high, so the imagery and stuff is beautiful.
Yeah.
And even the host of the show, I really liked him. But it was about Bible stories. And this dude travels to the places, you know, where these things supposedly happen.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it and I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. And it's fun to see all the places. And the whole time he's like, I'm standing what may have been the whatever. And I'm like, that's cool. I would like to be there. Well, then they talk about Moses parting the Red Sea. And they go into it and they show there's all these legends and stuff. It's really cool. And then it gets to the point where at the very end of the episode, they talk about this current that like rises and goes away and stuff. And they try to really hard to justify a logical reason as to why the sea split.
And how it rolled all the way back to Adam.
Yes, as if in that moment Moses raised his staff and then this like current thing hit just luckily at some point. It's like they can go really hard to this 1,000,000 to 1 chance that this would happen. Coincidentally, they're trying to like justify that, but you can't just simply believe that you know, God parted the sea down the middle. You know, it was just like, it
Yeah.
kind of bummed me out. I'm like, well, y'all were doing so good. This was so cool.
There is such a level of fear
Yeah.
of believing it.
Yeah, there has to be, because I would much rather believe that God and Moses and his staff magically separated the water than Moses raised his staff up and this current just happened to hit. That's more, it's just, I don't know. It had such potential. And then it crashed.
They really could have brought that home.
They really could have. And even the host, I was like, this dude, he's like excited about this. It was fun.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Then they dropped the hammer.
They did. They did. And I felt it, and I was just hanging on, like, maybe they'll come back around. Nope. You
had to rewrite your own ending.
Yeah.
Seems to be the trend these days.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. You can't sap the supernatural out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't.
Try.
You can try, but the whole thing is supernatural. You can't do it.
Yeah.
And if you do, you're going to work really hard to.
That's
it's going to be like it's almost, you're going to have to like maintain the puzzle pieces in your mind, you know, of as to why it's not supernatural. It's the opposite of like relinquishing control.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's exhausting to think about it. But
it's true, man.
Yeah.
It's like this life can be one of two things. It can be light and easy and you surrender and it's fun and it's fun. Mystical and it's exhilarating, or you can surrender to the pressure of trying to maintain all your pieces.
Yeah.
You know, and then if something happens and you don't know where to put it in the pieces, then you become rattled because you're like, my pieces aren't in order. And it's like, if a piece pops out, a piece pops out, you know?
Yeah.
And like I think the Lord so desires us to just be in the moment of like surrendering to the belief of whatever is happening here.
Yeah.
Because there's always a higher perspective. There's always a higher way.
Right.
But I don't know. We can go a lot higher than we think.
Yeah.
It was interesting today, though, talking with that man. He's funny, man. So funny. He was sweet, though, because he was talking about he just doesn't understand how I could flow in a spiritual gift. He was like, I just don't understand, because I had a word of knowledge. Okay, I'll just give the whole story. I wasn't going to, but I had a word of knowledge for him about the pain in his left hip. And this was it might have been a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And I asked if I could pray for his left hip, and I prayed for him. And anyways, I got told today the rest of the story. His wife freaked out. It was his wife who realized that I had the word of knowledge about his left hip.
Oh, okay.
Because he had had left hip problems for years.
Yeah.
For like 3 or 4 years. Had just had surgery to try and fix his left hip.
Yeah.
And it was still causing him pain. And anyways, he just put it all together. Like, he was just like, oh yeah, she prayed for my back. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But his wife was like, she knew.
Yeah.
How did she know? I was like, you know, it was just whatever.
Yeah.
I downplay a lot of that stuff. Because I tried to hit this so hard today. I was like, nobody's special.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, Marlia, nobody is better than one another, but you are special.
Oh, dang.
And I was like, that thing hit me.
Profound, yeah.
He was like, you are special.
Wow.
He said, we are all special, but you are special. And he was like, but nobody is better than one another.
Right.
And it actually caused, for me, a misconception of thinking that I'm like less than everybody else. It actually snapped the lie of that thing.
Right.
Because I would always just be like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like,
yeah.
And almost like downplay myself.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just thought it was interesting that he like turned around and hit me with that.
Yeah.
But it was cool because I got to talk to him about like spiritual gifts and how like this thing is exhilarating to flow with the Lord and things. And he was like, but how did you know? And I was like, so I explained what I saw and how I just gave space to God and how it came in. And he was like, oh, it's just so cool. And you could feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel at 70 years old that this man had so much hunger to know even more of the depths of God.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's so important, is to follow the hunger.
Right.
Like, follow the things that are stirring you up. Follow the things like that give you inspiration. And anyways, it was a really cool.
Just feel the hope for him too.
Yeah.
Of like seeing it and be like, oh,
time.
there's more.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And he was like, can we meet every week? Can we meet and talk? He was like, I want to know. And you could feel he doesn't talk like this often.
Yeah.
But he was hungry too.
Yeah.
I thought it was so sweet. But, you know, it was funny because Zach and I have been talking. I won't totally expose his story, but he had a profound experience in which the Lord commissioned him to do something.
Yeah.
Profound. And, like the Lord actually came to him in a dream and actually told him what to do. And it was funny. He was like, we had a situation that came up and he was like, I can do something about that.
Cool. And
I was like, what? And he goes, well, yeah, Jesus showed up to me in a dream and told me, so of course I can do it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like this matter of fact. And I was like, how many of us, I was just thinking about myself really, like, I want to walk in that level of confidence that he just stepped into.
Right.
Like, it stirred me up of like, he's like, put anything across my plate. God told me to do this. That means I can freaking do it.
Oh, yeah.
And he wants to go after it. And I'm like, what? We should all be on that level of hunger.
Yeah.
And like, if you're
confidence.
Yeah. Confidence.
And belief. Yeah.
And just let it fly. Like, be bold about statements.
Yeah.
Be bold, especially or always about the things that God has commissioned you to do, told you to do.
Right.
Given it to you. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like, we know we're backed by heaven.
Right.
And I think like, if you haven't gotten it from heaven, I think, you know, you don't have to prove your belief to God for him to move.
Right.
You know, we kind of talked about that the other day.
Yeah. That
I feel like that's a big trap people fall into, is trying to prove their belief to God.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm believing for you, Lord. I'm believing you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of like surrender.
Yeah.
You don't understand this thing.
Yeah.
And you come at him with humility of like, hey, I don't understand what's happening in this situation. I don't understand why this person's not getting healed. And I surrender that.
Yeah.
But I'm here, and I will, as soon as you give me the word, I'm going to hit that hammer.
Right.
And you wait on the word of the Lord.
Yeah.
That's what Peter did when he raised that girl from the dead.
Right.
He made space.
In that room. Yeah.
In that room. Just as he had seen Jesus do.
Right.
And it was simple.
Yeah.
It was just, get up.
That's it. Yeah.
But he waited for the word.
Yeah.
He waited for what the Lord was going to say.
Right.
He didn't try and pray 16 times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a piece of why people don't get healed all the time either.
I do too.
Because we do it out of our own forced will, trying to prove something to God.
Yeah.
Instead of just, hey.
I have a tough time with that one.
With what?
With the many words, the praying and stuff. I have a tough time with it.
You know, Zach wouldn't pray for a long time with people because of that.
Yeah.
He was like, God, people talk too much.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I am the same way.
He was like, I've got no other word to say.
Yeah.
It was
part of it. Yeah, I'm the same way. I need to talk to Zach about that. I think we would definitely relate on that. My thing is like, I don't know if we all believe it. It's like people say it, and that's like good, but like if we all believe it, we're there. We're united in that belief.
Yeah,
and it's just like boom, that's it.
That is it.
And the many words. I grew up with
many words.
Many words, and it was exhausting.
You're like,
to pull my eyeballs out.
How many times can you say the same thing in 1,000 different ways?
And then you think it's over, and it's not. It's like, oh,
and then somebody else starts.
Yes.
Doing the same thing that just happened.
And the lady way on the back starts saying something.
It was somebody said that. I don't remember where it was. It might have been in the book we were reading, but like, think about the few, if you think you have a lot of things to say, look at how many times Jesus spoke.
Yeah.
He didn't talk very much.
Right.
Especially about certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
There's like old people saying God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth.
mm-hmm.
I think that's like a
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Be
Something
quick to
to it.
listen, slow to speak.
Yeah,
They
right.
forgot that part.
Yeah.
They're always like, "Oh, you just gotta be slow to be angry." Nah, he said, "Be
slow
quick to
speak.
listen,
Yeah,
slow to speak." Bud.
right. Yeah. Oh, I was watching videos the other day. I'll have to send you this thing I follow. It's for shits and giggles. I watch it.
Yeah.
Still don't know why, but I'll go watch stuff. Anyways, there was this I was watching these church services, and there's like these prophets, prophetesses that are up front, and they're like revered as like, hearing from God.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to what we spoke about, probably last week. Yeah, it goes with last week's resolve message thing about like speaking to an idea or hearing something else speak rather than the person. But these prophets that I've noticed, they all have the very similar tone and the way that they walk around and do stuff. It's so weird. It's like I'm hearing the same voice from multiple people.
Really?
Yes. And like what they're saying, a lot of it's true. Some of this, but it's the spirit that it's coming through is like,
Feels weird.
it feels weird. And it's like you're still kind of holding yourself up above all these people and you're prophesying to them. And I don't see anyone teaching anybody.
Yeah.
But it's the voice, and it's always the same. It's just like,
I know the voice.
yeah.
The voice wears me out.
Yeah. And then what led me to that was talking about the many words, and when it's almost over and then some lady stands up and is like possessed by God and they're speaking as if God is speaking through them. That voice, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyways.
I think that robs the originality of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what part of the religious spirit does, is it robs the originality of people.
Yeah.
And the way that they relate, and the way that they talk, and the way that they interact with people. It's like, form yourself to fit this so that you're approved as a prophetess.
Yeah.
Or as a prophet. And it's like, that don't make no sense.
Right. And if you think about it, it severely limits what they're hearing and seeing. It just limits them.
Well, you put a filter on it.
Right.
And you it's just way less than.
Yeah.
Because it's not authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like most people can tell. Like,
yeah.
You can tell. You feel the weight of someone who's actually authentically themselves and connecting with God, and then those that I think connect with God but choose to hold their filter.
Yeah. Right.
Because I think that's where, people are accurate.
Mm-hmm.
They do have.
True. Yeah.
Because I don't think the gifts are irrevocable.
Right.
It's just hard to let go of a filter that you hold.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about Christianity itself, right? Which is us knowing the Lord. That was strange.
That's never happened.
Somebody just trying to click in.
Yeah.
I wonder if everybody heard that.
Probably. I think it came through the...
Yeah, I thought so too.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
Better than the voice. Anyways.
But the originality. The originality of people, I think, is so important.
Yeah.
So it's like, as you cultivate what you and how you are in your language.
Yeah.
I used to think, because I couldn't articulate, I didn't think I articulated as well as other people.
Yeah.
I felt like my words were less than.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I had a really hard time. I was like, but this is how I am receiving it. This is how I'm articulating it. And I always felt like it was less than, because everybody else articulated so well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And but the Lord was like, no, this is a part of you.
Yeah.
Like, don't limit yourself in this.
He had to teach me the same thing early on.
Yeah.
I still call myself stupid and feel like I can't articulate anything.
Yeah, I sound like at times I felt like I was like a babbling moron.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Not the only one.
No, not even
I would have
a
a hard time sharing what I got. Like really difficult time sharing it because I was like, what I say is going to be invalid
Oh
or
yeah.
stupid. And it took me a while to share those things. But then, yeah, the realization of like, nope, you're seeing accurately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm showing you this for a reason.
Yeah.
It is to be shared,
Mm-hmm.
and that fear of man thing.
Yeah, and even just feeling like other people's stuff is more important.
Yeah.
It's a trap that I think we can get into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's wisdom in maturity of actually like, hey, what is actually the voice of the Lord saying?
Yeah.
So even if what you got, you want to share, like share whatever, if you're like in your group of friends.
Yeah.
But also yield to what the Lord is actually saying.
Right.
And be aware that he always has an agenda, and not in a weird way, but he wants to impart things to people. He wants their hearts to expand.
Right.
I think in church services, like especially in church services, we should yield to the leading of the Lord.
Right.
In all things, musically.
Yeah.
As a pastor, like gather what you're going to say, but also yield yourself.
Yeah. Right.
And let the Spirit move where he wants to move, and let him release the things he wants to release. And I mean,
yeah. Right.
There's no time wasted.
Mm-mm.
We just have to give him space for it.
Right. Well, also, one thing early on too is like discerning his voice too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that it's him, knowing him. It goes back to knowing him.
What do you feel like was the biggest pivot when you realized it was him and not you?
I mean, it was a relief. Yeah, I think it's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, just massive. And yeah, and then with that, knowing like, oh, that was him.
When do you think, or when was the very first time that you were like, dang, that was him?
I don't know. I know, well, two of them, of the earlier ones. And one of them was so silly. I don't know if I've told this story before about the rooster. But we had a prophetic training one Sunday. It was the first one I'd ever been to.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah. And my boss and I at work were like cracking up laughing at that rooster that's on Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
It was hilarious because of his name.
Yeah.
It was like freaking hilarious to me and him, So anyways, like the next day, or it might have been that same day because I worked on Sundays. Had the training or whatever, and I was in the process of getting words. This is back when I would get words for the truck drivers, and I would pray for everybody. And we were in the training, and we did the thing where there's a group, and it's like, all right, you pray for this person and get something for them. Well, Beth had a word for me, and she was like, I don't know. She was just told me what she saw. She was like, I see this big rooster. She said, I don't know why. I got nothing more on it. I just see this rooster. I was like, holy crap. I was like, it was the sense of humor thing that got me. I felt like God was like laughing with us over that. Like he thought that was funny too. And that just hit me because that was the topic of the day, was a stupid rooster from Looney Tunes. And the fact that he was like, I was there, like I was laughing at it too is what it felt like. And he was like, it's funny. You're funny. And that the humor has been a huge aspect for me, that God's funny.
Yeah.
But that, and then a word I got for one of my bosses.
Yeah.
Whenever my boss responded to it, because I really stepped out.
Yeah.
That morning, it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. We were the only ones in the office, and I was just sitting there like, give me something, and I saw it, and he gave me a picture, and it was so clear, and I was like, ooh, I was like, it's like, and now I got to deliver it,
Yeah.
Accurate, what are you saying here? And it was spot on, and it touched my boss, who a lot of people don't like, and who comes, people think he's cold and, cold, and not the case. And what I saw was his heart, and it was cool. And so that one, I was like, okay, that point, I was like, I didn't conjure that up. You showed me that very specific picture.
Yeah.
And so he reinforces it over and over again. It's the discipline thing of it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then having those, and then also reading the Bible and just asking about him and going into him, seeing him, that's where you you determine who he is, or where you discover who he is and what his voice sounds like, you know. And it's always the same. He's not bipolar, and he doesn't change.
Yeah, but I think it's letting go too of the filter that he's angry.
Yeah.
And that he's mean.
Oh yeah.
Because I think you can read stuff in the Bible, and if you think that God is mean in the slightest, you will read it wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you like actually ask the Lord, like,
you've got to give up.
Yeah, hey, come breathe on this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come breathe on it and let me see you as you really are. And
yeah,
I think it's so vastly important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to give up and start from scratch.
I think for me, the first time that I got something for somebody that rattled my cage, I'd had multiple things kind of go down, but I was hanging out with this guy who was just a really good friend of mine on the couch one night. And we're like, I don't know, in college they have like the commons area.
Yeah.
We were all hanging out in the commons, and it was just me and him, and we were talking, and it was kind of strange. He was like, I've been waiting on you all semester. And I was like, all right, this is weird. Because we were just starting to hang out. But he was like, the Lord told me about you in the beginning of the semester, and I've been waiting on you to come around.
Oh.
There's a lot there. It was kind of manipulative in the long run.
Sure.
But what struck me was he was like, hey, I feel like the Lord really wants you to grow in the prophetic. And I just come around to, I guess it was a year or so. I was like really hungry and come around. And so he was like, hey, basically like, I think God's always been speaking to you, but you know, I whatever. So he was like, hey, will you get a word for my cousin? And I was like, okay, this is weird. I don't know. Anyways, he was like, just clear your mind and tell me whatever you see.
Yeah.
So I did. I was like, okay. Like, I just said, Jesus, what do you have for his cousin?
Yeah.
And instantly I saw him chained. His ankles were chained, and he was standing on the beach, and water was rushing over him.
Oh.
And the water kept rushing over his ankles over and over and over, and the chains broke.
Yeah.
And he began to run on the beach. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I described the vision to him. I didn't know how to present something. I didn't know anything. I was like, this is just what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And he broke. And this is a tough guy. This was a guy that played football, college football, kind of like just a rough dude. He sobbed. He was sobbing at that vision.
Yeah.
And then he begins to explain to me what happened with his cousin and what his cousin was going through. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the Lord is actually, I could see it. Like I started piecing things together when I heard his story. I was like, oh my gosh, the water was the spirit that's actually rushing over something that's got him bound.
Oh yeah.
And he's becoming free, and he's starting to run in the spirit. And like, it was like I could catch on when he was explaining what was happening. It was like the Lord was teaching me in that moment of even what these symbols were meaning. And I was like, oh, so he's getting free. He's getting free. And the Lord is actually washing over him to break him out of this. And my friend was like, yeah, like that's exactly what's happening. And
That's
anyways,
hilarious.
so for me, it like really stirred up. Like one, not only is the Lord speaking to you.
Oh yeah.
As you hear feedback, you can begin to learn even more the language of God.
Yeah.
And like being able to, oh, okay, that was what that thing was.
Right.
Oh, that's what, And so for me, it was like a beautiful lesson of him just teaching me how he talks.
Yeah.
And
that's cool. And it goes both ways. It's like the people, you're both getting hit up by it.
Yeah.
It's healing on both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important to release things to people.
Yeah, it is.
Day in and day out. Like you're not bound to a church. You're not bound to a service. You're not bound to your quiet time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You're not bound to the 10 minutes a day that you're supposed to be talking with him.
Yeah.
And I know we say this all the time, but like set time apart, like create space for him, but also create space in conversation for people.
Right.
In conversation with people. It's so important.
Yeah. There's no secular part of our lives.
Yeah. And I think even when you're with your closest friends, create space for him.
Right.
Create space for him in conversation.
Right.
And not just talk about the same old things or the things you always talk about. Like allow yourself to go deeper.
Yeah.
allow yourself to actually get insight from heaven of like,
Yeah.
what's even being released in this conversation? What
Right.
are we gaining from each other?
Mm-hmm.
And not to be religious, not over religiousise it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but I think there is a space of giving God space,
Yeah.
even in your relationships,
Yeah.
and your marriages.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, I saw a mad shift happen when I started to give space to God in my marriage,
Mm-hmm.
especially like in the contentious points.
Yeah.
You know, because when you live with somebody, of course you're going to argue with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, if you don't, you lying.
Yeah.
But it's like even give God space in that,
Mm-hmm.
because there's something to grow in. There's something to be added to you.
Yeah.
And I think it's important
Yeah.
to give him space, even in relationships,
Right.
and even asking the Lord for a word for your spouse,
Yeah.
or even, you know, ask the Lord, like, how do you see them?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you can start relating to them by the way that God actually sees them,
Right.
instead of relating to maybe the behavior that really gets on your nerves.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like it's living by the higher way
Mm-hmm.
that I think is really important.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's good.
we could always circle back to our conspiracy theories.
We could.
I'm just kidding.
I think it's kind of funny how the guy who asked you to get a word from God, it's like he used you to hear from him.
Yeah.
And then it hit him. I just think it's kind of funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was for his cousin.
Right.
You know.
But it hit him though.
Yeah.
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 And he knew it was God, obviously. So that's confirming on both ends. That's cool. It's funny. It's a little manipulative, but it's, you know.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Well, even the Lord covers the immature.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's all it was.
Yeah.
It was just immature excitement and zeal.
Uh-huh.
And no doubt. The dude had so much excitement and zeal.
Yeah.
There was just immaturity in the fruit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But his intentions,
The
I think
zeal,
the zeal was
it's
there.
fun.
It was very lighthearted.
Yeah.
I think the manipulation was like, I've been waiting on you. That was definitely
Oh,
manipulative.
yeah.
With good intentions.
Uh-huh.
Because, I mean, we were really good friends for multiple years.
Uh-huh.
And he was actually the reason I even got connected to,
Yeah.
you know,
Cool. Yeah.
where I'm at now.
Right.
But
Yeah. One story. I don't know if I've shared this one either. But it was shortly after that prophetic training with the rooster and stuff.
mm-hmm.
That was like number one, is hearing God in my life at that point. But it was a Thursday night. I think Daniel or Anthony pitched it out to the group. It was like, hey, we're going to Lindale. It was some like, I don't know what you call it. I don't know.
It was a gathering. I know what this is.
Okay,
yes.
It was some sort of gathering. I had no clue what it was.
It was a gathering out in the woods. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah.
The worship team used to go play out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was a gathering out in the woods.
We used to go. It was like a yearly thing.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. I've got a story about being out there too.
Okay, well, let's go. I want to do that too.
Okay, you can
Since
go.
we're on the subject of the gathering in the woods. But we go out there. They just threw it out there like, hey, we're going to go, I guess, prophesy to people, which I'd never done like on that kind of scale before ever. But I was so like zealous, you know.
You're like, let's do it.
I was like, let's go. And
it was
I'm
just
like,
the three of y'all, right?
It was just the three of us.
Yeah.
And my process or my thought was like, you're either going to show up or you're not. Like I'm going to hear from you or I'm not, but I'm going to put you on the spot and you have to, or I'll look like a moron.
And whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But we went there and like went up front. I'd never been in front of people like that ever before.
Yeah.
I'd seen people maybe do it in the weird way.
Mm-hmm.
They went up there and got a word for like every single person. And like, I remember early on, like even when I'd be driving and I would see somebody like jogging down the street or something, it would be the core of like, I would just feel love for them. And I think that was the base of it, was like, let me teach me how to love somebody that I don't even know, or like show me how to love people, like those truck drivers.
Yeah.
And that was like the core. That's where the word comes from.
Yep.
you know? And it's like, show me who they are, all those things. But I got a word for everybody that night.
That's sweet.
And he just showed up. I mean, just like, it was so clear.
Mm.
And it was just that surrender and like stepping out and just trusting him.
Yeah.
It's like, you're either going to show up or you're not. But that was one of the most cool moments where he pulled through for me. It was another like, okay, you're totally with me.
Yeah.
But
that's sweet.
Yeah.
One of the years that we went out there, so the worship team played, and then there was a couple of us that ended up giving prophetic words at the end.
Yeah.
And I had a word for a lady, an older lady, and I told her, I was like, hey, I feel like you have I was like, I don't know if you have a daughter and a granddaughter, but I see that there's a strong connection between you and your granddaughter. And I feel that the very things that you're walking in, you're actually depositing in your granddaughter, not just your daughter, but I feel like there's a strong connection there. Well, because I asked her first, I was like, do you have a daughter? She was like, yes. And I was like, do you have a granddaughter? She was like, yes. And so like because especially when it comes to words of knowledge, I think it's one of my favorite things. I'm not going to lie. I really like flowing in it, but I don't want to be presumptuous.
Yeah.
So I always come with a question.
Yeah.
And, but I knew it. I knew she had a granddaughter. This is the part I didn't know. So as I'm sharing all these things and like she said, she was like, can I give you feedback? And I was like, sure. She said, my granddaughter and I share the same birthday, and she's named after me. And she was like, for whatever reason, she was like, I've always felt drawn to her.
Yeah.
And I like, and there was just so much there that she was sharing out of the word. And I kind of went into a lot more, but she was like, there's so much in that, that I just want you to know, like, you made my heart come alive tonight.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, for me, that was like, bang, dude.
Yeah.
Like the Lord went after her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about me.
Right.
You know, like I was like, who flipping cares?
Right.
But that was a cool moment. That was cool that the Lord would show up like that.
Yeah.
And then the daughter actually happened to be there.
Huh.
The granddaughter was not, but the daughter was. And then the daughter got to give some feedback about things that I said. And it was just like, man, what I love about words of knowledge is that the Lord knows people's everything.
Yeah, he does.
But I think sometimes we don't believe it.
Yeah.
And so the words of knowledge actually like stamp, oh my gosh, I'm known by him.
Yeah.
He really does know things about me.
Yeah.
It's not this person. It's
right.
him. Like, because I think that there is such a level of unbelief that God actually knows you and cares about you.
Yeah.
Because we've religiousized the crap out of it.
Right.
But
that's cool.
Yeah. That was one of my random stories out there.
That's good. You really do go for those words of knowledge, though.
Yeah. I've only had it in healing a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because most people think words of knowledge come about healing.
Yeah.
And that was how I had always heard it taught.
Yeah.
But I started going after words of knowledge of like, I want to know people's birth dates.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I know it's because I have walked through a lot of this, but I get a lot of family stuff.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you how many kids you got.
Right.
There was a lady I went to go pick up those pizzas. Did I tell you about this? I went to go pick up the pizzas for
the last thing?
The artist night.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I tell you about running into the lady?
I don't think so.
Whatever, because this
happens.
Crap,
It's normal.
Anyways, it just happens all the time, and I don't think everybody has to know every story.
Yeah.
But, I used to think that. I used to think I had to tell everybody all the things that happen, but the Lord really taught me to value the privacy.
Yeah.
The privacy between me and him, and the privacy of me and that other person.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place to share, but
for sure,
not every single detail.
Not everything. Yeah, but
I used to think I should. Share everything. So it was a cool. Anyways, circle back. Random story. There was a lady who was making my pizza, and I just talk to people. I'm not just kind of shoot the shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
And but the Lord told me she's got 2 daughters and a son. And just tell her she's a good mom.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, so you got some kids, yeah? And she goes, yes. I said, you have 2 daughters and a boy?
Yeah.
She goes, oh, how did you know? I think this is just the beginning. But I was like, hey, I feel like just to encourage you, like you're a good mom.
Yeah.
And she would just, like, she stared at me. She kept staring at me like, how did you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, it just like, I think that's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I think, you know, as things grow and as things develop, you get more and more and more. But that is one thing I love. I love that God has people's calling cards.
Yeah.
Of just like.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he wants people to know how much he values them.
Right. Yeah, like, that's cool.
He loves them, man. He loves all of us.
Yeah.
So much. But anyways, it's fun. Yeah. I really try. I really try to get people's stuff.
Yeah. Good.
I think that's an important thing, is that we try and we make space.
Yeah. Right. Go for it. That's something I try to remember. I don't always do it because I get lots of imagery a lot, but every now and then when I'm really I'm like, well, let's try something different. Like expand my senses a little bit. Let's go outside, and I'll ask him specifically for something else. And the ones that I've missed, I've got words of knowledge that I have missed or I have not, because it was so ingrained in my like subconscious that I didn't even consider it a word of knowledge, and I just didn't give it. And then when I found out this detail, I was like, oh crap, that was you. Yeah. That was you. I was like, he's ingrained in our thoughts. There's so much to grow into. Oh yeah. And it's extracting those things, allowing those things to come forward and just. And what that one made me think of was like, when I got that, I wasn't conscious I wasn't like thinking like I'm connected with you right now. So it was almost like, oh, there's more space that I can be aware of his presence in. I don't know. It was like another level or another layer. Yeah. Like, I think it's stepping into the awareness that he's always with you. Right. And you don't always have to like beg and plead that he come in. Yeah. It's just being aware, like, he's in here. He's there. Yeah. He's here. Right. He's here. So he gave me that. If he gave me that, he had to be here. Yeah. Also, he's with me. Right. Also, he's in me. Yeah. Also, he who joins himself is one spirit with him. Like, right. We're completely bound. It's not confined to, hey, I need a word for this person. Oh, another one. The random little pains that you feel when you're in public somewhere. Oh, yeah. Like in your ankle or whatever it is. It's like, that may not be the pain in your ankle. It may be some person next to you. That's a word of knowledge. Right. That's another one. Or somebody said that I had never heard this term before, but they were like, yeah, it's mercy pains. I was like, that's weird. That's funny, yeah. But like, it is. It's a pain that you get because somebody needs to be healed in the room. Yeah. And the fact that you're allowed to like specifically feel it, it's like, ooh, that's another thing. Like, God knows your pain. He wants to. Oh yeah. But even like, okay, so empaths, that's a real popular word. Well, empathy is feeling someone else's feelings. Yeah, but an empath can walk into a room and you can feel, if you weren't angry before and you step into a room and you're angry, you're like, golly, I don't know why I'm so angry. Well, it's because somebody there is manifesting it. Right. And you need to break it out. Yeah. Like, you have the power to shift authority on it. Yeah. You can shift the atmosphere. If you're feeling it, if you're sensing it, you have the power to break it. And you could actually snap somebody out of the anger and never talk to them. Yeah. You could break the anger out of their room and somebody could just be like, oh, man, I feel so much better. I don't know why I got so angry about that. Right. Or peace. Like, what is that scripture about? Let your peace be made known, or let it come till it comes back to you, or if they don't accept it. Yeah, Jesus told the disciples, like, let your peace rest upon this house. Yeah. And if it is not received, take it back up. Yeah. And it's almost like you can go in there and drop it. You can drop a big peace bomb. Peace bomb. Yeah. And people can latch onto it. Yeah. Yeah. I think we have the power to do that. Yeah. Just, I think sometimes we take it on as ourselves, or we take it on because of whatever pain or trigger that we think that we have. Right.
And I think there is an aspect of like acknowledge what you're carrying, your pains.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why we have to be emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Of like, these are the wounds that I still am carrying that I'm walking through.
Sure.
This is the back pain that I've had my entire life.
Yeah.
You know, and be able to differentiate, draw the line between this is me.
Yeah.
And this was not me.
Right. But that's what you do with it though. When you feel that is you can,
But you can drop a bomb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you start asking the Lord, like, hey, let me see into the spirit and make space for that, you can see where it's, for lack of better words, where it's around somebody.
Yeah.
And you can intentionally pray and break that off of them, break the heaviness off of them, break, the anxiety, the pressure. I mean.
Yeah. And that going deeper into it, that's another thing that like Anthony is incredible at. And I asked him about it one of the Sundays. I was just talking to him about going deeper into it. And he was like, why.
Yep.
The why. Keep going into it,
Keep asking why.
Yeah.
Like, why did you show me this? Why are we breaking this off?
Right.
Why are we needing to do this?
And Anthony's incredible at it. He just flows in it. But it's cool because it's like, something to it.
Oh, yeah.
Even in those moments when you walk in, you feel the anger. It's like, okay, where's it coming from? Oh, that person. Then you can even go into why and hit the core of it.
Yep.
If you needed to hit that person up,
Yeah. I think maturity looks like knowing when and knowing the timing and seasons of things.
Right.
That's the thing. I've been on that trend is like, what's the timely word of the Lord?
Yeah.
Like, you may see something and you may be walking in stuff, but is it time for them?
Yeah.
Is it time to wail on that root?
Right.
If it's not, because Jesus says that the wheat and the tares grow together.
Right.
And at the right time, then it is sifted.
Yeah.
Because if you go after somebody, quote unquote, and I don't mean that in like a nice way, like if you're going to share something with somebody, but it's not the right time to hit that thing, it could actually cause more damage than it does good.
Yeah.
Because they're not ready.
Right.
Because there could have been 1,000 different things that are going on behind the scenes that we're not fully aware of, that are manifesting.
Yeah.
And so I think a good question is the why.
Yeah.
I love that question. And I do that often with prophetic words for the ministry, like when we're functioning on Sundays.
Right.
But the other one is, what's the timing? What's the timing of this?
Yeah.
Do you want somebody to give another word before I even say this? Like I used to do that at group, not Sunday mornings.
Right.
The prophetic teams.
Yeah.
I would ask the Lord, what's the timing of this? Do you want me to wait?
Yeah.
Do you want me to wait for somebody else to share because that's going to bring more weight?
Yeah.
I know it sounds so silly, and maybe it's just because I'm so analytical, but I want things to be so timely, perfect for people.
Yeah.
And I want to be,
Yeah. Well,
in alignment and in sync with what he's doing every step of the way.
Yeah. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Acting on, his timing and his word.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a thing of mine, like recently I've been feeling. I feel like super black and white about certain things,
Yeah.
And aggressive about certain things. And he gently corrected me. And it was about gentleness.
Yeah.
And it was about, being all in, but not in an it doesn't have to be in an aggressive manner.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be expressed aggressively. It can be expressed with gentleness.
Right. And he was showing me that and stuff. And it was difficult for me to hear it because I'm like, no, I'm 100% like what
I'm right.
say. it was an absolute thing, but it was like, no, I'm all for it. Like, what's the problem with that? And I'm asking him, like, what's the big deal? But then even in Daniel's message Sunday, when Lazarus died and Jesus waited a few days, it's like, oh, I'm not going to go right now. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's timing.
That is timing.
That's it's timing. And he did it to wind it up, to really wind it up so that when he did show up, it was far more incredible than it would have been,
Yep.
But it's his timing.
Yeah. I think we can be blinded with pure intentions, but with passion and zeal.
Right.
That we don't couple it with wisdom and the timing of the Lord.
Yeah. And patience.
Patience.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's James 1 that says, like, let patience have its perfect work.
Yeah.
So that you will be complete and perfect and lacking nothing.
Right. Yeah.
If you choose the patience of the Lord, it will come with wholeness.
Yeah. Right.
You know, whatever you're going to pray about, whatever you want to release.
Uh-huh.
I think that's why prayer is not so much like pray and beg and ask God for these things.
Yeah.
Prayer is, God, what do you have?
Yeah.
Let me agree with those, because it is in the agreement that thing is established.
Right.
And I think that's when he's telling you something, especially in prayer for the timing of things, that's because those are the things that need to happen now.
Yeah.
Like that's what we can agree upon now for this moment, instead of just begging him to heal somebody or begging him to. That's just not empowered.
Begging him for the election to go.
Yeah. The way that you want it to, or, you know, I think a lot of prayer lists look like, God, heal somebody.
Yeah.
God, I ask that you heal them.
Yeah.
God, I ask that you heal them. Because I mean, okay, so growing up in a Baptist church, that's all we did. Those were our prayer lists of, does somebody have a need?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Who needs healing?
Uh-huh.
Because there's a lot of sickness. And the unspoken prayer requests, those are my favorite.
Unspoken prayer requests? What is that?
Okay, so for those of you that aren't Baptist, I'm just kidding. No, we used to do this thing where we would all sit around in a circle, and so we'd have to say what we needed prayer for, or wanted prayer for. And it would, of course, be like, you know, I want you to heal Bobby Joe from cancer, and I want, you know, a lot of cancer. And then you would always have one or two old ladies, so precious, but they would be like, it's unspoken prayer request. God knows my heart. Just pray for my unspoken.
Oh, okay.
And so literally we would all sit around, we'd hold hands.
Yeah.
Because that's what you needed to do in a Baptist church. Close your eyes, bow your head, hold hands. And you would pray that God would heal everything, that God would come through. Great intentions, don't get me wrong. Right. But then it would be like, God, be with Sally and her unspoken request. I'm like, don't go look in the spirit because you'll see it.
Yeah.
But it makes me laugh because it's void of transparency. Yeah. It's void of vulnerability.
Secrecy, yeah.
It's secrecy. It's, I have to carry this burden alone. It's actually pride.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Right.
There's no blood flow. There's no connection there.
Yeah.
Anyways, which I find to be hysterical. But, you know.
Yeah.
But that's not prayer.
Right.
Prayer is like, hey, Lord, what do you actually say about Sally?
Yeah.
And then whatever he says, you agree with it.
Yeah. Because
oftentimes the very things that we're asking the Lord for healing for, whatever, that's not what he's going after.
Yeah.
He's not concerned about that thing. If you get on his playbook, you'll run the right play at the right time.
Right. Simple.
Yeah, it's the playbook of heaven.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I feel that playbook thing, that really struck a chord with me just then.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the playbook of heaven. We just actually have to ask.
Right.
And then run the play.
Yeah.
AKA follow through.
Right.
On whatever he says to do. All right, well.
We've come a long way from chihuahuas and asthma to God's playbook.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
That is his playbook, though.
Yeah.
The frequencies.
Right.
That was a part of it. He created it. So
yeah.
It's fascinating.
He did. He created chihuahuas.
That's like mosquitoes, though. Why?
Yeah.
I hate mosquitoes.
What frequency? They love me.
Do they?
Oh, my God.
I heard that they go after blood type.
Well, whatever I've got, they go after it.
What blood type you got?
I have no clue. The kind they like. Am I supposed to know?
Yeah, it's important.
Don't know what type. How many are there?
A ton.
Yeah.
It's like A negative, A positive, AB positive, AB negative. O positive, O negative,
It just-
B positive, B
It bores me. I
negative.
don't not have a care to know.
I deeply care.
Yeah.
I care about the blood.
Yeah.
What can I say? I like the blood, James.
Yeah. Are you a mosquito?
The blood of the lamb.
Yeah. Oh
Ah.
gosh. There we go. I have an unspoken prayer request.
Good thing it's covered.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
That got a little excessive.
The end.